Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of your IGCSE Tutors. Today I will be discussing this Cambridge IGCSE Economics Paper 2 Section A. Here are the questions. Question 1A. Calculate the percentage contribution of Jakarta to Indonesia's GDP in 2021. So, back to the text. So what we are looking is here. So you can just take this 300 billion divide by 1,100 billion times 100. So you get 27.3%. Question B. Identify two examples of external costs ignored by the free market. So, where to find the answer? Back to the text, can read, the answer is here. Okay, so air pollution and rising sea level. Question C. Explain how real GDP per head can be an indicator of living standards. So, the key point is that you need to explain what is the purpose, what is the meaning of real GDP. So, first, real GDP per head shows the real income of the population in the country because it has been adjusted for inflation. So you must mention this adjusted for inflation because this is 1 mark. This is the key point you must mention. And second point, you can further describe what happens when there are higher real GDP per head. So this means people have more income to consume goods and services of better quality. So this increases their standard of living. So from this question, first you need to explain what is real GDP, and second, you explain how real GDP relates to this living standards, and you got your 2 marks. Question D. Explain 2 ways climate change can lead to a fall in the Human Development Index, HDI, of Indonesia. So, for HDI, first, you can say what it measures. There are 3 things it measures. First is education, second, healthcare, and third, standard of living. Of course, for this one, it's optional, so you can list it down for your reference, or if you already know it, then you don't have to list it down. So we proceed. These are all the answers. Firstly, rising sea level resulting from climate change has caused severe flooding, which increases the risk of transmission of disease through water and mosquitoes. This results in more people falling ill and worsening their health level and life expectancy. So for this one, we are referring to the healthcare. And second, flooding has also destroyed many agricultural lands, which cuts off the income of many families relying on farming. Hence, this reduces GDP per capita, which decreases the standard of living. So this one we're referring to standard of living. There are 3, so you can just choose two of it to talk about. And if you want to talk about education, you can say that maybe flooding they'll cause the school to close down, to shut down, so many students can't receive education in a short term. This is how it impacts. Okay, question E. Draw a PPC diagram to show the impact of climate change on an economy such as Indonesia. So for this 4 marks, because it only asks you to draw, you can just draw. So first mark comes from this, you need to label x-axis and y-axis. It's consumer goods and capital goods. And another mark is drawing this PPC 1 to PPC curve. So you need to show the inward shift by drawing this red arrow. Okay, this shows an inward shift, right? So here are the explanation. You only have to explain if the question asks you to describe the graph. So you can say this. This graph shows an invert sheaf from PPC1 to PPC2, which means the productive capacity reduces because many resources such as land and buildings have been destroyed by flood. So the first point, you can say this one and this one. So, and here are the reasons for better explanation. However, this is just extra knowledge. If today's the question is 5 mark and it asks you to describe, then you need to write this description. But if it just asks you to draw, then this diagram itself is sufficient. Next, question F. Analyze the relationship between GDP and government spending on the environment. So for this question, we need to go back to see the graph. Sorry, we need to go to check this table. So you need to analyze the relationship in these tables. Okay, so to analyze this graph, by looking at it, it's still not that sufficient because we can't ensure that by looking at this, we know what's the percentage the government spend on the environment. So it's better if you can work out the percentage. The government spend on environment. Okay, so basically you just use this value, divide by this value times 100. So I'll just write down a value, which is, this is the percentage, right? This 1%, 0.23, 1.13, 0.55, and 0.06. Okay, so for this, we can clearly see the government spend on environment. For this, I would suggest you to list down the highest to the lowest by numbering. Okay, so this is the highest, second, third, fourth, fifth, 1, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So by looking at this, okay, by the way, this green part is referring to this. Okay, so by looking at this, we can identify the anomaly. First one, obviously we see the first one, the higher GDP, it results in the higher government spending on the environment. But the anomaly is here, this and this. Because you see, although Indonesia, it has higher GDP, but its government spend less on environment compared to Switzerland. So let's move on to the answer. Okay, first, you need to state the relationship. This is the first step. GDP and government spending on the environment has a positive relationship. Okay. And the second part, you need to state the evidence, highest and lowest, and analyze the reason. So Japan has the highest GDP. This one, on the evidence you can state. If you don't want to state, it's also fine. And the highest government spending on the environment. Thailand has lower GDP and the lowest government spending on the environment. This is because countries with higher GDP are more developed, so the government can focus on objectives like protecting the environment, unlike developing countries that need to focus on economic growth. However, there is an exception. Indonesia has a higher GDP than Switzerland, but the Indonesian government spends less on the environment than Switzerland. A reason is that the Indonesian government may allocate more funds on other sectors, such as healthcare, because the government may want to increase life expectancy and labor productivity. So here are the general three tips you need to remember when answering this kind of relationship question. Question G. Discuss whether or not internal migration benefits an economy such as Indonesia. Okay, so first we need to know what is internal migration. It means that the individual move from one area to another area. For example, in Malaysia, you may move from Penang to Kuala Lumpur. This is internal migration. Alright, so this is the yes point. It benefits, and this one, it does not benefit. So for 6 points, you usually just have to write 3 points. So it can be 2 for and 1 against, or 2 or 1 for and 2 against. So for a more comprehensive answer, for your understanding, I'll just list these 4 points and you can choose which to write. So first one, for suggesting why internal migration benefits economy, is that it has highest crop production, increases crop production in underutilized rural areas, like those areas that are still undeveloped, and higher incomes for migrant workers lead to growth in agriculture-related industries. Increased worker income stimulates demand for goods and services, driving economic growth. So this basically means that when workers, they have income, they have the money to spend on goods and services. So this increase the demand and drive economic growth. Second, lower housing costs. Can reduce living costs by moving to regions with cheaper housing, and frees up income for healthcare and other goods, improving life expectancy. Stimulates demand in other sectors, contributing to economic activity. So when we say moving from one area to another area, we must know that in different areas, the living costs and housing costs are different. So if you move from a higher housing cost, let's say in US is New York, you move to Texas, it has obviously lower housing costs in Texas. So this frees up your income. You can spend the remaining income that you save from the housing costs to spend on other expenses, or you can consume better goods and services such as healthcare to improve your life expectancy. So this is the benefits, right? And then we move on to why internal migration does not benefit the economy. Okay, so first one, you can talk about there's increased inequality caused by these two immobility. First one is geographical immobility, where it states that family commitments limit relocation. So this restricts the access to job opportunities. Second, occupational immobility. So workers with limited skills struggle to adapt, leading to unemployment and poverty. This basically means that maybe some workers that specialize, for example, that specialize in making shoes, it's very hard for them to let's say change to planting or becoming an accountant because they have limited skills. It's harder for them to change a job. So for those mobile workers, they can secure higher paying jobs. So this makes them more competitive and increase in income inequality between mobile and immobile labor. Second, it may cause the collapse of community after migration. If many workers migrate to other areas, there will be less people sustaining the production, which causes many firms to close down. Less workers also means less consumption of goods and services, which reduces demand in that area. So firms, they need workers to operate. But if a lot of workers migrate, there will be shortage of labor, and the production process may slow down and become they can produce less output. So eventually they have less sales and firms may force to be closed down. So this is you can talk about this impacts the demand in that area. Alright, question H. Discuss whether or not relocating the capital city from Jakarta will benefit the Indonesian economy. again, you just need to write 3 points. So for this 4, okay, you can write these 2 points. First one is that it provides more job opportunities. As Kalimantan region has not been fully developed, there are many opportunities for firms to be set up there. This creates jobs for the local population, helping previously unemployed individuals secure incomes, thereby reducing income inequality. With lower unemployment and higher incomes, demand for goods and services increases, stimulating economic growth. So basically means that, we say Jakarta is fully developed, so there will be rarely any new chance for people to get employed. So it's good that we move to Kalimantan region. There have at that area it's not yet fully developed, so you can have more opportunity. Basically, describing the opportunity there. Alright, second point is that you follow sustainable development goals, because in the text it says that the new capital city will have the main objective of carbon neutral. So you can see that it aligns with the global trends in sustainability. This SDG is brought up by the United Nations, right? You can talk about this. If not, it's also okay. Which reduces external costs like air pollution. So this improved air quality enhances public health and increases life expectancy, which boosts labor productivity as workers become healthier. They are more fit to work now. And environmental conscious foreign investors may be attracted to invest in Indonesia, increasing FDI and contributing to GDP growth. So for some investors, they may value environmental protection. So when they see Indonesia is advocating this objective, they'll be more likely to invest in this country, right, instead of other country. Right, how about against? We also have 2 points. First one is also stated in text. It says that the cost of building a new city is high. So it requires significant government expenditure. But where are you going to get all this money? You need to, potentially raise more tax. And where does this tax come from? All from the taxpayer. So when you raise the tax rate, this will reduce the disposable income, which reduce the standard of living for citizens. Furthermore, the project incurs opportunity costs, as funds allocated to the capital could have been used for critical sectors like education, limiting access to schooling and limiting future innovation and labor productivity. So this basically means that now maybe less people or less children can access to education. So this limits the opportunity for them to get maybe better skills and knowledge for them to get a higher paid job in the future. And because they don't have those skills, it's also very hard for them to bring innovation for that industry, for like many industry in the future. Right, second point, widens income inequality. The project may disproportionately benefit those wealthy and influential individuals who have connection with the government, allowing them to earn significant profit. This worsens income inequality as the benefits are not evenly distributed, leaving marginalized groups with limited advantages from the relocation. So marginalized groups are those people and individuals who are at disadvantage, due to the project. So it can basically saying that maybe a lot of taxpayers that are paying for this new project, but they may not be benefit from it. Why? Because Indonesia is very big, so they may be not living in the Kalimantan region in the future. So when they pay the tax, they're like helping them to build the project, but they don't benefit from it, from the use of it in the future, because they're not living there. So that's it for today's video. I hope this helped you to tackle the economics past paper with more confidence. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more videos. See you next time and happy studying!